Hey, PY, I'm wondering how does that work, Bonita? Because I see a portal and it seems that there is a lot of things happening in parallel at the same time. But can you explain me the details of the process?
Hi, Poppy. That's a very interesting question. Oh, you know what? During this day, I have a lot of friends coming for barbecue, so let's animate that with them. Okay? Come with me.
The user click on the button, so the browser generates an HTTP request, and then the HTTP request goes through the network to the Tomcat server. Hey, hello Tomcat. So Tomcat pass the HTTP request to the applications. So the application here will be Bonita software, and then he gets the answer, and that's it. He sends back the answer to the network. So the HTTP request go back to the browser, and here we are.
So, what's happened after the Tomcat? Behind the Tomcat, we have a pool of thread of a Bonita portal and... What are you doing, Marvin?
Oh, you say we go to the pool, right? I'm ready.
No, okay. Not a pool. In fact, it's a set of thread.
Oh,
Okay, so behind we have a set of thread, and then the request is ready, and Tomcat will give the request to one thread in the pool.
so there is no real pool.
No, it's not a real pool. It's a pool. It's a set of thread.
That's disappointing.
So what happens when Tomcat gets the request? Let's go behind the scene. So here you have a pool of threads. So Tomcat chooses the thread you want to give the job, and that's it. So the thread starts to work, and then it detects you have to create a case, for example, and oh, we have some work to do after the creations. We call that a work item. So we have to put the work item in a queue because we have to do something after. So here the thread is continues the work, and you have to give the answer to the browser. So he gives the answer to Tomcat.
Of course, think it's not so simple. For example, for a thread to create a case, first it will go to load the process definitions to know on which process you want to create the case, and you have to go to the data source to have a look to the database and go back to check the contracts that what the user gave in the forms. Then you have to get a case ID, which would be unique. So case ID, of course, you have to go again to the database, and you have to go to cat finally the case, which go again to the database via the data source, and then go back to the portal to give the answer to the customer. That's only the main idea on what's happening behind the scene.
Ah, I understand better now. But once you put the work item in the queue, what happened after?
So now all the work items are in a queue. So after that, we have a pool of thread, and no, Marvin, it's still not a pool, a physical pool. So, and then the pool of thread equals the workers, and the worker have to do the real job. So let's have a look on that.
So remember, this is the queue. So we have a lot of things to do, like create a case and after. So we have a pool of workers waiting. So here the pool chose one thread to do the job, so it can start to do what you have to do, and the second one, and so on. And until we have some work to do, then we have something to do. And for example, the worker detects that we have a call connectors, so he puts the jobs on a different queue. This is a connector queue. Okay, we have to call services. And oh, a second thread detects that you have to send an email. So this is on the connector queue. And then after, it can say, the thread say, the worker say, okay, that's done. We can finish with that work, and the work is archived. That's it.
Ah, but there is a second queue.
So, as you understand, when the connector wants to execute something heavy, then it puts the job in another queue, and then there are another pool of thread, and okay, then the other kind of thread, we call that the connector thread, takes the job to execute this one.
So this is the connector queue. We have some work to do. So we have second pool of thread, the connector thread. So the same mechanism here. The pool will say, okay, you thread, you have to do something. Of course, the connector job is take more times to execute because, for example, you need to send an email, you need to think, and then the queue check the times. You have to do that in a certain times. By default, it's 5 minutes, but you can change that in the configurations. Okay, the connector does the job in the good times, in the good schedule, so that's fine, it's finished. But look for the second connector thread. He's late. He will do it. Yes, no, so no, too late. So the task failed. Take too much time.
Oh, and there are another mechanism, we call that the quart scheduler, and the goal of that mechanism is to look for all the events, like the timer event or something like this, and then to execute jobs if needed. For example, when you have in a connector, in the process, when you have a timer and you set the timer to be fired after 10 minutes, then these quart scheduler are in charge to fire that timer and then to create the job.
So that's it. I hope this is helpful for you and you understand better how it works. It's really a quick and simple overview because I think you are, as you can imagine, more complex than that. And the architectures and the engine change between the different versions. For example, in the previous versions, the worker run directly the connector, something like this. But this is mainly what's happened, and the idea behind is to have a very powerful and very multi-thread engine, so everything can be run in parallel. And the second main idea is to have a very robust engine, so if everything arrives at one time, for example, the engine stop or something like this, then on the startup, then you can redo and restart the job. Okay?
Oh, that's much clearer now. That's dope. Thank you, PY.